Okay, we are learning Sefer Pituchei Chotam from Rabbi Yaakov Avichatzira. We are up to Pharshas Pנחס. Okay, let's get started. Vayedaber Hashem Moshe Leimer. Hashem speaks to Moshe, and he says, Pנחas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen, Heishiv es Chamasi me'al b'nei Yisrael. Pנחas. Now, the word Pנחas here is spelled uniquely. It is, I don't know if it's the only time, but here it is spelled with a yud. Generally, the name Pנחas is spelled without a yud. So we have to pick up on that. Why here? What's the significance of having a yud in Pנחas' name here? So Pנחas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen, the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron HaKohen, Heishav es Chamasi me'al b'nei Yisrael, restored my anger from upon the b'nei Yisrael, Bekane is kinasi b'seicham, by being vengeful, V'lechelisi es b'nei Yisrael b'kinasi, and I didn't destroy the b'nei Yisrael. L'chein emar, therefore say to him, Hineni noisein loy es brisi shalom, I'm going to give him a covenant of peace. Terrific. Now, I want to tell you something. The name Pנחas has a strong connotation. I actually just heard of a boy who was named, his parents wanted to name him Pנחas. He's a Kohen. They wanted to name him Pנחas. And Rav told him you should add another name to it, Aaron. Because Pנחas, it sounds, it's a tough name. It's a tough name, Pנחas. Pנחas was a Kanoi, Eliyahu Navi, was a Gilgal of Pנחas. So, it has that connotation. Not for no reason. Not for no reason. Let's see what the extra yud is coming to teach us. When a person does an Aveir Chas v'Shalom, especially Gilui Raya, says Rabbi Yaakov, so that causes, it's like pushing away the feet of the Shechina. The Zohar says, Tachaz, you come and see Kol Chayva, this Avid Be'izgalya, any Chayv, it's an Aveir, any Chayt that's done before Hesya, Dachi Le L'Shchinte, Me'ara, it pushes the Shechina out of the land, Me'ara, from earth, Usalikas de Yural Me'alma, and it removes, the presence of the Shechina is removed from the world. When a person does an Aveira, Rabbi Yaakov says, certainly, or Kol Shekin, when a person does Avodah Zarah. So here you have Zimri ben Salu, the Nasi of Shimon, who does an Aveira b'far Hesya, having no compassion, so to speak, on the Shechina, and saying, Shechina, Arais, get out of here. I don't want you here. Pushing away the feet of the Shechina. Comes along Pנחas, and he has mercy. He's compassion. He has pity, so to speak, on the Shechina. He says, this is terrible. This can't happen. I need to bring the Shechina back. Says Rabbi Yaakov, Pנחas, with a yud in it, is Panai Chas. Pנחas has taken pity upon my face. Chas is lashon of Rachmanis. Panai is my face. He has had Rachmanis for the Shechina. That's why the Yud is added here. So we get the Panai Chas, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is noting that Panai Chas, Pנחas had Rachmanis on me, so to speak. Had Rachmanis on the Shechina. So the Shechina was being pushed away and brought it back. Therefore, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, L'chein emar hineni noisein lai es brisi shalom. Just how he had Rachmanis on me and made sure the Shechina stayed put here, I'm going to give the bris of shalom, which means I will not allow death to take foot in him. That's Pנחas becoming the Gilgal of Eliyahu Navi, and Eliyahu Navi going up, never dying. That's brisi shalom. You got the shleimus of covenant of shleimus, meaning that he won't die because he was panei chas, he had rachmanas on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Further, says Rabbi Yaakov, where did Pנחas? So Pנחas is called ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen. Rashi brings that the Shvatim ring mavazim, and they say, look at this Ben Puti. Why was he called Ben Puti, son of a Puti, referring to Yisro? So the Gemara tells us that, we'll learn the Gemara. It wasn't for naught that it was Pנחas who went to fight against the Midyanim. Lipara din avi imoy. He was actually going to take up his grandfather's cause. Shenemar v'hamidanim machroi oisei al Mitzrayim. It was the Midyanim that sold Yosef to Mitzrayim. So Gemara says, remember the Pנחas of Yosef, Asi? Does that mean that Pנחas came from Yosef? He was a descendant of Yosef. Elazar ben Aaron lakach lemi b'nais Putiel leili isha. That Elazar married someone from a daughter of Putiel. And who was Putiel? Says the Gemara, the Mailav the Asimi Yisrei shepitem agon lav. Yisrei was referred to as Putiel because he was mefatin. He fattened up calves to give to Avodah Zarah. So Yisrei, Pנחas didn't come from Yisrei. Pנחas came from Yosef. He was called Putiel. Gemara says no. Yosef was also called Putiel. Yosef shepitpek b'Yisrei. He spoke to his Yetzer Hara and he said, he shushed up his Yetzer Hara. So the Gemara ends up saying that he actually, Elazar married someone who was a granddaughter of both Yosef and Yisrei, Mibnais Putiel. He married someone who's, Mibnais, referring to two, that there was that his yichus came from two, from both Yisrei and from Yosef. And this is what the Gemara says in Seita. So Pinchas was miyuches to both Yosef and he was miyuches to Yisrei, both of them. To the extent that Zohar takes it, the Arizal takes it a step further in Shar Gagulim, and he says that it wasn't just that he had yichus. It wasn't just that Pinchas's yichus was from Yisrei and was from Yosef. Says the Arizal in Shar Gagulim, V'soida ininu ki Pinchas be'eshenaylad. When Pinchas was born, hayakol mishtei nitzitzis neshamis. His neshama was actually made up of two. His neshama came from both Yosef and from Yisrei. V'zo putiel lashon tipin means the tipin, the drops of his neshama, came from both nitzis acharei misheresh nishmas Yosef hatzadik, and one spark of his neshama came from Yosef hatzadik. B'nitzut sheni misheresh nishmas Yisrei, and the second spark came from Yisrei. Ubechinas beis neshamas eila nikra Pinchas. When you have these two neshamas together, that's called Pinchas. Yisrei and Yosef. That was the neshama of Pinchas, and that's where he got his koyach. He got his koyach to be able to fight this terrible defiance of Moshe Rabbeinu and Klal Yisrael, Zimri. He got the koyach from this neshama of Yisrei, who said goodbye to Avodah Zarah, and from Yosef, who was Pipit b'Yitzrei, who said goodbye to his Yetzer Hara for Gilui Arayos. Says Rabbi Yaakov, let's take a look at the name of Pinchas. Pinchas with a yod is B'gematria 208. A remez that he's a Ben Yosef, which is a B'gematria 208. Ben Elazar ben Aaron is B'gematria 668. Ben Yisroi is B'gematria 668. So we see in his name, Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron, that he was a Ben Yosef and that he was a Ben Yisrei, that his neshama came from both of these two neshamas, and that's why he was able to stand up against the Zimri, because it was in him to say, the two averas that were taking place here. One was Gilui Arayos with B'nai Moav. One was Baal Pa'ar, was Avodah Zarah. Is my own Isafa, and that's why it was Dafka, because he came from Yisrei and Yosef. Yisrei, who was Mefatim, Agolis, Lavevis Kachavim, and then left that and said goodbye to Avodah Zarah. And Yosef, who had to deal with a very strong temptations and was able to say goodbye. It was those two shoresh of his neshama that gave Pinchas the ability to stand up for what's right. You never know what's inside of us. Let's look inside and let's stand up for what's right. Have a great Shabbos.